The truth is out there. Knowledge is power. This is the Prepper Podcast Radio Network.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Oven contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiasts on your shopping list. A Sun Oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
And with winter comes dangerous driving conditions. Get your vehicle ready for bad weather. Get it serviced as soon as possible. Prepare for emergencies by packing food, water, warm clothes, and weather-appropriate shoes or boots. Don't forget to keep the spare to make sure it's usable. Stay informed on bad weather, dangerous driving events by visiting prepperpodcast.com. When Christmas comes, you don't want your family to sit in an empty chair.
Are you sick and tired of having your First Amendment harassed or censored on Facebook? Use no more, as we now have a new alternative to Facebook. It's called Awareness Act. Awareness Act is a social network designed for patriots, to be used by patriots, and is ran by patriots. Stand up and help in the fight to protect your constitutional rights. Patriots can create pages, blogs, videos, documents, articles, and so much more. We even have a unique news feed system that allows you to share, read, or connect with any patriot on Awareness Act. We are a dedicated tool for patriots to use against the tyranny our Constitution is facing. So if you're tired of having your rights infringed upon, come check us out at www.awarenessact.com. Again, that is www.awarenessact.com, the social network for patriots, not potatoes.
Whether you take me for the fool, I know that I can be. Whether you see me eye to eye.
Have you ever wanted to generate your own supply of electrical power, even save money on your electric bill? If so, this is going to be the most important message you will ever hear. Solar power generators are now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. Unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running quietly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, and even keep your food from spoiling. Whether it's hurricanes, ice storms, brownouts, or blackouts, you'll never suffer through painful power outages again. And here's the best news. A remarkable fall truckload sale going on right now that gets you $1,700 in bonuses when you buy a solar generator. To find out why solar generators are the best generators and get $1,700 for doing so, go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com. Generate your own supply of electricity. Go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com.
This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from Southeast Oklahoma, USA, to parts unknown.
Coming to you from the foothills of the Sheep Mountain Range and under the watchful eye of Mount Charleston, 11,916 feet above the desert floor, I bring you Homestead Dividends, a podcast rooted in common sense and practical knowledge, where home improvement, homesteading, and self-reliance meet. I am your host, Dan V., promising you a podcast that brings you four things. I'll save you time, I'll save you money, I'll give you perspective, and I'll give you the support that you need to do it yourself. Well, greetings one and all. Happy December, everyone. It is the 6th of December, 2012. Almost going on to the 7th, and you'll probably be hearing this the 7th or sometime thereabouts after. It's recorded here on the 6th of December in the evening here in the foothills of the Sheep Mountain Range, looking across the valley at Mount Charleston. Anyway, I want to wish you all a happy December and a happy Advent and a happy Christmas and holiday and season. And also, Hanukkah starts, I believe, in the near future and pretty darn soon. In fact, I believe it starts Saturday at sundown. So happy Hanukkah to those people to whom it applies. Okay, well, today's episode is actually a little bit of a downer. I hate to be a Debbie Downer here, but I think that's what this episode is going to call for. And today's episode, with sarcasm, is Joy to the World. Now, why did I come up with this joyous or happy name? It's kind of an ironic thing. It's not. Please, I hope that you know me well enough by now that I'm not making fun of Christmas or anything like that. It's the fact that I have some rather negative news to share with you at the beginning, and I'll have some other things thrown in as well. And but there are some things that I want to talk with you guys about. Things that are in the news. I haven't talked really current events lately and really dealt with the news. And the beginning part, I'll get the heavy lifting out of the way, and then we'll get on to some festive posts and just some other general interest things to my preppers, homesteaders, and otherwise people who are interested in prepping and preparing for things if things were to take a turn for the worse, or even if they do not. Okay, so a couple articles I wanted to share with you, and if you take a look on my website, and yes, I almost forgot, my website is Homestead Dividends, but don't write that all out, just write HDIVS.com, again, HDIVS.com. But if you want to write the whole words Homestead and Dividends out altogether.com, it'll take you there. I own that site too, and that redirects you to HDIVS.com. And when you're there, please make sure you subscribe to my podcast via iTunes. On my site, you'll see where it says subscribe to iTunes, or on the right-hand side, you'll see a little area of places to subscribe via RSS or Atom feeds. And I recommend the Atom feed also, because that'll also pick up all of my, as will the RSS, really simple syndication. They will also pick up any of my non-podcast vlogs as well. But subscribe via iTunes, and all of your podcasts, my podcasts, will be sent to you for free. All you do is click on the link. It'll take you to my page on iTunes. Click on the subscribe for free button. Voila. You have all of the new and future podcasts, as well as many of the older ones at your fingertips. But, Dan, what if there are ones on there that I can't get, and it only goes back so far, and for some weird reason it doesn't show all of my episodes? Fear not. On my website, hdivs.com, just go to the podcasts tab, scroll down. Podcasts 1 through 100 are on the first tab. Just click on them, and it'll take you to my podcast. And 101 through 200 is my second tab, and those will likewise take you to my podcast. Now, I'm a little behind a couple episodes, but every once I get about 5 or 10 of them, I just drag them all over and set them up in my podcast folder in those tabs so that you can go ahead and listen to them there. And they are available for you anytime, free of charge. And speaking of free of charge, I did this podcast free of charge, and all that I ask in return is to share me with your social media of choice, whether that's follow me on Twitter, my handle is HDIVS, common sense, use that one. On Facebook, keyword search Homestead and Dividends, and you'll find me, as you will if you go HDIVS on Facebook. Dig me on Dig, share my links on Reddit or Stumble Upon, and tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. Please pass the word on, and if you do that, I would consider that payment in full for the work that I do and the things that I put together and produce for you. Likewise, a couple other things. When you're on iTunes, if you have the chance, and if you love what you hear, please would you write a positive review and let the other people know that this is a worthwhile endeavor and isn't a fly-by-night operation. I actually put out a podcast, and I try and do my best to give you guys a free and valuable podcast. I know that your time is valuable, and I appreciate you for investing your time with me. You can go other places for information, content, and feedback, yet you've decided to spend some time with me. I'm humbled and I'm honored, and I can't thank you enough. And so I just wanted to say thank you. Your time is not free. And the fact that you spend it with me, I truly am humbled, and I can't thank you enough for it. Okay, so on with today's show. Joy to the world. Sarcasm in parentheses. So a couple things I want to talk to you guys about. And one of them was actually a CNN article. I take them from everywhere. I am a non-biased blogger. If there's something on the Communist News Network, I go right ahead and use it, and because I do actually like the business section, although they can slant things there too, but there are some things that I like. And so the first article, Money Flying Out of the U.S. Equity Markets, that's what I entitled it. If you go to the link, it'll take you to an article that says Flight Out of the U.S. Stock Funds Accelerates. And what it's saying is that, and I'll just read a blurb from it, but it'll pretty much be self-explanatory. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I'll give you a blurb. Okay? Investors in the United States pulled $7.5 billion from the U.S. stock mutual funds and market during the latest week, bringing the year's total outflow of more than $1.25 billion, or over a tenth of $1 trillion in money this year. People are not trusting this market. People aren't buying when the market was going up, and now that the market's going sideways, and Apple's down, 20-some% off of its highs, people aren't buying into this. We have been suckers once and again, many of us, buying into the market. They get us all in, and then once the market gets high enough, the big boys jump out of the market crashes, and we're stuck with a bunch of stock that isn't worth very much. Usually that's called pump and dump, and people they go to jail for that. You get in trouble for that. But somehow the big boys get everyone invested and everyone excited, and because it's kind of a softer approach where we're just, hey, the market's good, you got to get in, everybody jumps in, and then the rug's pulled out. Well, you know what? People are finding other ways and other areas to spend and invest their money. Real estate, one of the things that I like. Now, I'm not a real estate mogul or investor, but I do have a vacation/bug-out home. And so I think that is a better retirement tool than dealing with those tools on Wall Street, to be very honest with you. Although I do have some money there, and I'm very honest about that. But, if you know my story, I cashed out a bunch of my retirement money from my old accounts when I moved jobs. My wife and I have moved around a little bit with her career, and so I've moved from a couple different teaching jobs, and I always invest and save, and or have. And when it was time to roll these things over, I said, screw it. We have family back home, and I really want us to buy something, fix it up, make it beautiful, and have a retirement vacation bug-out home in case something happens. Here, 3 time zones from all of our family in the middle of the desert. Not a great place we can kind of hole up and protect ourselves when bad times come. But as long as we can get a plane flight out of here and get back to good old PA, both of our families are from there. Both of our families, 15 minutes from each other. And I still have a brother in town. She has a sister, and not too far away. And I have another sister in Ohio, not too far away. And we have a network and family and friends and people who love us there. And so that was really important for us to invest our money there. So, I pulled out a chunk of money, and I'll just leave it at that, a chunk of money, all my old retirement, and I plunked that down as a down payment on our new or old house. And it was such an old, nasty house that we couldn't even get a mortgage on it. It was in such bad shape. There was water in the basement, and structurally it needed some work, and nobody wanted to write a mortgage on a home with standing water in the basement. And I don't really disagree with that. But the blessing in disguise was we got the house for maybe, I don't know, somewhere around 100 large or something like that. And we came up with the money ourselves, and then with some creative financing with a family member who we've paid back. We own the home now free and clear. And unfortunately, though, we've put a lot of money more, or a lot more money, I should say, back into the house. And hopefully we've put a lot of money into it. But you know what? If you look at it and you've seen some of the videos and pictures and walked through it, hopefully that home is going to keep its value and be usable for us for generations to come. And so we're really excited about that. And so it's not even about making money on this house, although we feel that we've built a lot of equity into it. It's about having a property that has value that someday we could sell if we wanted to, but we have a safe place to go. We have a vacation home. We have a home we can go to when we decide to go home on certain holidays. Like we were home for, we were on Halloween. That's a big holiday in our family, not because we're some creepy, weird Halloween people, but because it's a quick time for us to get away, or usually it's just my wife and my daughter. They have a Halloween parade in the cute little town where their house is, and it's the fall time, so there's fall festivals going on, and it's a little less stressful and crazy than Thanksgiving, which we spend out here by ourselves, just the three of us, my wife and my daughter and myself. Once in a while we'll go home for Christmas, and we do try and get home for at least a couple weeks in the summer, and maybe for Easter, depending on it. In case you're wondering, yeah, this is our vacation money and all our holiday money. This is where we choose to spend it, is on a vacation/bug-out home. We don't stay in hotels. We don't go on vacations. My vacation is going home to Pennsylvania, taking out my power tools and working on my house and fixing it up and working my freaking tail off. That's my thing, and that's where I put my money and my hard work and my effort. And for me, that's relaxing and incredibly enjoyable. As a school teacher who is, more esoteric and dealing with, intangible things that you can't touch and feel, ideas and whatever, man, slugging nails and moving boards and painting and tearing things up and moving things and planning and digging, that's awesome for me. And my wife's kind of the same thing. She's an egghead too. And for us to get out there and get after it and get dirty and sweaty is a great thing. And we have a little plastic pool in our backyard, one of those above-ground ones. And, taking a dip after a long day of working our tails off, that's enjoyable and relaxing for us, building equity. That's our vacation. We're not drinking, drinks with little umbrellas in them, living in hanging out in resorts and going to Europe or going to these fancy, that's not us. Our vacation is spending time with our family and building something. So we've kind of repurposed vacation. I actually have a couple of podcasts where I deal with repurposing vacations. And that's kind of our philosophy. We spend time with our family. Our family's important to us. That's what we spend our money on. Plane tickets to go see our family and, our money in our house and fixing it up. So that's our investment. I strongly recommend gold and silver, which even if it goes down in value, it's still gold and silver. But over the long term, gold and silver continue to go up in value. And so that's a great place to put money or hide money or store money, whatever you want, or store wealth, whatever you want to say. But back to the article on CNN, it's just talking about that they're just clobbered and getting clobbered in the market. People aren't buying into it. And, of course, you have these eggheads on here talking about, like Warren Buffett saying, oh, well, the fiscal cliff's not going to torpedo the economy and everything's okay, and now's a great time to buy because stocks are cheap. And you know what? Too many people have been burned, including my father, by pump and dump schemes where people get you excited about the market or get excited about a specific stock or mutual fund. You put your money in, and when everybody gets all this excitement going because they've been seeing returns or it's going up, the big boys pull out, the floor drops out, and you're stuck with money and funds that aren't worth what you paid for them, and you're upside down, meaning you're losing money on the investment. And I don't believe in that. You know what? I don't know if I can sell my house for what I put into it, although I know I can. But anyway, you know what? But I have a house. You know what you have if you have stocks that aren't worth much? You got paper. And what do you really have? Nothing. Okay? Owning land, owning houses, owning gold. You know what? You have a tangible asset. Let the big wigs and the pencil necks and the geeks and the sharks, because that's really what they are, though they look like they're nerds, but they're sharks. Let them play with their own money. And the game's up. People aren't buying into this crap anymore. And people have had enough. And people are pulling their money out of the markets. And I'm not recommending you to or not take money out of the market. That's between you and your financial advisor. Get good legal and financial advice. That's not my point. This podcast, of course, is for entertainment purposes only. I can say for myself, I don't have a problem with trusting the paper markets and the markets that deal with intangible assets like stocks and bonds less, and the markets involving tangible assets, gold, silver, land, real estate, whatever, a little bit more. You have 5 acres and it's not worth what you paid for it. What do you got? 5 acres of land. What do you have when you got $1,000 or $100,000 worth of Apple stock that's now worth $50,000 or $20,000? What do you got? A piece of paper. You hope that you convert back to something else later. So just keep that in mind and keep it in perspective that tangible assets should be a part of your portfolio. Either a second home, paying off the debt on your own home, for heaven's sake. I know everyone doesn't have a hunting cabin or a vacation home or whatever. You know what? you have some money that you're sitting around in the stock market, you might want to consider paying off your mortgage, owning that house, owning your castle. That's a very, very powerful thing, to own your own house. And if you can do that, I would strongly recommend you to consider that after getting with the proper counsel and getting advice that definitely is jives with what you're doing. So that's the first story. So money's pulling out of the market. I guess it's kind of a negative for the economy, but at the same time, it's a good thing. I think that people are realizing now that these markets, you can't really buy and believe everything that these people are telling you in Wall Street. And too many times, American people, Main Street, gets screwed over. And you know what? If the Wall Street people make bad decisions, what happens? We, the taxpayers, and the Fed, okay, the Federal Reserve Bank, bail them out. They make money if they make money and turn profit, and they make money if they lose money because the banks bail them out. What do we get? Nothing. We get buckus. So keep that in mind as you go forward with your investing. Consider tangible assets. And there are other tangible assets I can go on another time. But, you know, metal-jacketed or copper-jacketed lead and guns can hold value and are tangible assets. And in emergency situations, you can probably sell a gun easier than you can sell a stock. Just something to think about, okay? Okay, a couple other articles. This one I linked to deals with the housing prices. Again, there is a housing recovery, and this again comes from CNN, and this one talks about the fact that the economy or the recovery is really slow, and actually that the housing prices are estimated or predicted, forecasted to drop over the next 6 months in most markets. So more good news. I thought we were on the recovery. I thought we were on the right road. I thought all we had to do was stay the course, and we were coming to the promised land. Okay? Well, I don't know. Gee, golly, do you think our politicians lied to us and portrayed everything as just hunky-dory and it's really not? No, couldn't be. I believe those people. They're wonderful. They're my heroes. Not. And I'm not picking on any one party. You know what? Both sides are equally responsible or culpable for what's happened to our economy. Shame on both of them. Okay? Both of them, when both Republicans and Democrats, either one of these dummies have been in office, what has happened in the presidency? What has happened to spending? Out of control. And we have spent ourselves into trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of debt, to the point we're almost on the event horizon where we are just going to implode under the weight of our own debt. And, you know, it's really, really sad. And it's both parties. And that's why I recommend libertarian and fiscal conservatives who are not part of Party Dumb 1 or Party Dumb 2 and are independent, and getting them in. Now you say, well, you know, you're throwing your vote away. If everyone realized that if you weren't throwing your vote away, if everyone voted for good people who are fiscally conservative and stopped selling out our country to a bunch of special interest groups, you know what? We'd be onto something. But of course, we're not there yet. But just a little blurb about this. Nearly 2/3 of the nation's housing markets will see price declines for the year through next June, according to analytics firm FISRV, FISV's ticker symbol. Overall, the gains will be just 0.3%, I guess, for the entire next year. One big factor that could weigh on the price is the fiscal cliff. If Congress can't agree on a deal to halt the series of tax increases and spending cuts, a recession is likely, and that would hit the housing recovery hard. Well, I've got news for them, and this goes along with something else that I just saw on CNBC today. Not that I'm a big fan of those guys, but there's a show, well, I don't even know what it's called anymore. It used to be called Kudlow and Kramer. They both split up, and there's a guy, Larry Kudlow. Well, anyway, he's a pretty well-known guy about the street or on Wall Street, and he cited sources that say technically we are now in a recession and have been since July. Well, why has it taken since July to know that we're in a recession? Because usually the way that economic data comes in, usually you don't find out until 6 months after the fact whether or not you've started in or out of a recovery. There's indicators that are lagging and take a while to measure and to actually take the real temperature of where things are. It takes a while. And it turns out, at least it's been reported, that now we are technically in a recession. And have been since June, or July rather. And that has just come out tonight. And Well, I'm not incredibly depressed by that. I'm not pleased. And that's kind of disappointing and frustrating and sad and angering and annoying. And, yeah, it is, I guess, angering for me and embittering. And just to warn you guys, good times do not necessarily lie ahead. And that's why we prep. Why do we plant gardens? Why do we plant fruit trees? Why do we plant permafood? Why do we plant annual gardens? Why do we save food? Because it can be more expensive later. Why do we plan for these things? People get laid off. Why do we do the things that we do? Because our home is more valuable than a piece of paper. So all of these things that we do, from home improvement, homesteading, do-it-yourself stuff, and, all these different things, farming, any kind of agriculture, all of these things that we do that really take us to the same point, and that point is self-reliance, or you might want to look at it a different way, self-dependence, or independence. All these things are important, guys, because you know what, this economy isn't great, and I don't think we're in a point or in a place right now where we can really have a good economy for a while. We have a lot of things we need to fix and may never fix, and the only way they might be fixed is by a collapse and then a recovery based on the collapse and kind of starting from scratch. And that's not a good idea either. You don't want a collapse. You don't want everything to crash down, because it's going to hurt all of us, and it's going to hurt your neighbors, and it's going to hurt people you love. And it's going to hurt us, ourselves. So keep that in mind. We're not cheering for a depression. We're not cheering for a collapse. Okay? I do not wish ill on anyone. Well, that's not true. I guess there are some people out there who, vote certain ways that I'm not real crazy about, but I don't wish ill on them. I'm not crazy about them. I wouldn't mind them catching a cold, maybe. But I guess that's the extent I would wish ill on them. But they know who they are. But in any case, I wish all of my fellow brothers and sisters, all children of God in my eyes, and I'm bringing my religious point of view in here, but we're all children of God in my eyes, and I don't wish ill of anybody. Now, with the exception, of course, of a couple people who are jerks, and some people who are criminals. But you know what? Even those criminals and people that have done bad things, you know what? I pray for them that they see the light. I don't want anyone to always stay in the dark. I want everyone to come into the light. And so, I wish. I want to punch them out. These people that hurt children or break certain laws or do really nasty things. Yeah, I'd like to punch their lights out. But then I step back and say, you know what? Maybe this person's going to change their life, and you know what? We're all entitled to a second chance, and who am I to condemn them? You know what? I've made dumb mistakes. No, I haven't killed anybody, but, I've done some dumb crap too. So, let's cut them the break, and let's pray for them, think about them, and let's win them over to the good side, okay? Let's do that Jedi mind trick and bring them over to the dark, not the dark, but what is it? The good side of the Force. What is it? The light side, the white side? I don't even know what they call it. As opposed to the dark side. So bring them over to the good side. Bring them into the light, I guess is what I'm saying. A couple of articles that I wanted to mention and discuss with you briefly. There was an article about guns that I wanted to talk to you about. And this is based on, how do I want to phrase this? I don't want to get too nasty about it or too into it because I don't want people to get upset. Let me just say this. There was a murder in Kansas City. It was a professional football player. For those of you who are international listeners that may not be familiar with the story. And I'll just say this. He killed his girlfriend. There was a domestic dispute. And then he turned the gun on himself. And, it was a devastating double homicide. Well, homicide, suicide, or double homicide. I don't know. I'm not a policeman, so I don't know how that's termed. Is it a double homicide or a homicide suicide? In any case, he killed his girlfriend, his live-in girlfriend. He killed himself, and now they left a baby without parents. And to me, that is the ultimate, well, not the ultimate, but certainly a form of child abuse that I'm just sickened by. To leave children without parents is just sad. And a famous commentator or announcer named Bob Costas, part of the mainstream liberal media, made a comment about gun control and how that would save things and how guns are really the problem. Can I point something out to you? Guns don't kill people, and I know you've heard this way, people do. Well, yeah, just like if we ban spoons, are people going to stop being fat? And do we blame the spoons for people being fat, for eating dessert? Okay? So what? We're going to ban spoons to fight obesity? And we're going to ban guns to stop people from killing? It's the person, it is the agent who operates the tool. So you're taking away the gun is only going to change the method of the destruction or the horrible, heinous act. Okay? Jack the Ripper didn't have a gun. He had a knife, and he did a lot of work there in London town. It'll change the method. Now, I realize that assault weapons can kill more people, but if the intent is there to kill someone, they're going to do it with a knife if they don't have a gun or something else. And this is really macabre, and I know this is that whole, not so joyous part of the season, me bringing up these things in the Christmas season, but we need to have an honest talk here, guys. The guns aren't to blame. The guns aren't the answer to every problem either, okay? If all you have is a gun, every problem looks like a shooting target, doesn't it? Okay, so don't walk around with a gun like it's the answer to your problems, okay? You're not going to shoot your way out of problems. Guns, even in the best situation, are going to cause problems. They're going to impound your gun, they're going to have an investigation, there's this, there's that. But, I'd rather have an investigation and someone confiscate my gun than put a toe tag around me or my daughter or my wife and have the rest of the family suffer with the loss of a loved one. But that's just me. Anyway, Ryan Wilson, a blogger, mentions this. Guns not to blame in Belcher shooting. And I have a link to this. It says, it's been 4 days since Chiefs linebacker Jovan Belcher shot his girlfriend to death before taking his own life, and 3 days since NBC Sports' Bob Costas moralized to millions about the danger of guns. Steelers linebacker James Harrison, an avid gun collector who was no stranger to controversy on and off the field, said Belcher not the guns he used. Excuse me for a second here. Not the guns he used is responsible for last week's tragedy. It's a big issue as far as what happened and everything. It's a sad story. Harrison told the USA Today's Jim Corbett, or he said that to Jim Corbett, but the fact of it being part of guns, the way they want, and this is a quote here, they want to say it's guns and all this other stuff. It's ridiculous. He did it, meaning this person, Mr. Belcher, and he alone is responsible for it. It has nothing to do with the guns. Costas, quoting Fox Sports columnist Jason Whitlock on Sunday night, said this: in the coming days, Jovan Belcher's actions and their possible connection to football will be analyzed. Who knows? But here, wrote Jason Whitlock, is what I believe. If Jovan Belcher didn't possess a gun, he and Cassandra Perkins, Belcher's girlfriend, would both be alive today. Harrison, like a lot of people, doesn't think it's that simple. Somebody goes out and kills somebody with a knife. You going to blame the knife, he asked? Somebody goes out and kills somebody by pushing somebody in front of a train. You're going to start cutting off guys' arms? You're going to start blaming people's arms now? It's the person who did it who is responsible. Harrison says he owns approximately 20 guns and was photographed brandishing 2 handguns for a story in August 21st issue of Men's Journal titled Confessions of an NFL Hitman. Corbett asked Harrison if Belcher's murder-suicide made him reconsider his right to bear arms. No, he said. I have my guns. I'm going to keep my guns. I'm going to use my guns responsibly and go from there. It's not as far as athletes needing guns for protection. It's the right to bear firearms. And Harrison refuted the perception that athletes are inordinately predisposed to owning guns. It's not an athlete thing. It's a human thing, he said. If you go and say, all right, now we're going to take guns away from everybody, and the only person who's going to have guns are the police, if that was a good thing and that's actually how it would go, then that would work. But the 2 people who are going to have guns then are the police and the criminals. That's not going to solve things. It's only going to cause more problems. And it says, for more NFL news and rumors, and then gives a blog site. Anyway, I'll have a link to this. I have a link to this in today's show, and you can go ahead and check it out. Okay, so it is the problem of people to come to terms with, how do I want to say this? I'm typing as I'm talking here. It is your responsibility to make the right decisions about guns, and only you can decide what is right for your family. But remember, just like a spoon doesn't cause you to be fat, I don't believe a gun causes people to die. Sorry about that pregnant pause there, guys. As a teacher and an English teacher, where I do an incredible amount of lecturing and teaching and reading, etc. out loud, my voice just gives out on me, and it's one of the struggles of being a podcaster is that, from time to time my voice does give out on me, and I'm fighting and struggling not to cough and keep things going. So I do apologize about that. It's something I will work on and continue to try to help with, but, it's something that I can't really help. It's part of an occupational hazard that I have, and I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, a couple other things I wanted to tell you about. Better Homes and Garden has a link to 5-ingredient slow cooker recipes. Now this one I am not putting in my blog feed today for today's show. Why? Because I'm a mean, horrible person? No. But I want you to get involved with my Twitter feed, and I want you to follow me. Go to Twitter, if you're a Twitter person, and you can go to HDIVS. That's my Twitter feed, and that's me. Go click on it and follow me, and you can check my recent posts, and you'll see one on here for fabulous 5-ingredient slow cooker recipes from Better Homes and Garden. Dan, you are checking out Better Homes and Gardens? You bet I am. I absolutely love going to Better Homes and Gardens and other websites like that, Redbook, Women's Day, whatever. And I will get things, Martha Stewart has a blog on Home Depot. And, I go to Lowe's. Any place that has a decent blog, I'm on it, and I'm trying to get information and help out and send it on to the community. So, I subscribe to these things. I read the pieces, Mother Earth News, and I'm a subscriber to Mother Earth. These are all places where I get great information and great articles, and I wanted to share it with you. But anyway, let me just talk about a couple of the succulent recipes here in this 5-ingredient slow cooker recipe thing. And if you don't own a slow cooker, also known as a crock pot, you need to get one. Why? There's nothing better than leaving work in the morning, putting something on low and slow, coming home with all the ingredients, leaving it all in there, turning it on, coming home, and you walk in the door, and that aroma of a stew or some kind of a slow cooker recipe is just to die for heavenly. And you don't have to think about cooking. It's cooked all day passively for you. And for those wives and women who, ladies, you get frustrated, you come home and you got to start all over again and get dirty and this and that. Make a little mess in the morning. Get cleaned up, put your clothes on, go to work, forget about it. When you walk in the door, you have a cooked meal. I mean, there's nothing better, and so I'm a big believer. One of the recipes is called German pork stew, or German-style pork stew. Apple juice and caraway seeds complement this classic pork stew seasoned in rich mushroom gravy, so that's one of them. Pot roast with fruit and chipotle sauce, and oh man, do I love pot roast. I actually make a pot roast with a little bit of a maple glaze, and what we like to add is red wine, brown sugar, and actually a little bit of maple syrup to it, and let that slow cook. That is the most delicious piece of meat. And the glaze and the sauce that it cooks in, the wine, is the most wonderful hearty broth / gravy for over your mashed potatoes. And I like mashed potatoes with my pot roast. And what I do is I don't cook potatoes in the pot roast because I'm going to have mashed potatoes. So it's wine, brown sugar, a little bit like a quarter cup of, a couple glasses of wine, a quarter cup of maple syrup, and, we use a cup of vegetable soup and, maybe a glass or a cup of water as well. And we let that cook all day, slow and low. Come home, you break it apart, you cut it with a fork, and you put it over mashed potatoes. We use instant if it's, an after work kind of thing, or we can go with the, real mashed potatoes if it's a Saturday or Sunday thing. And it's just absolutely heavenly. If you haven't done pot roast that way, I recommend it. You know what? In my recipe section, I'll put it together for you and talk to you about my pot roast recipe in the near future. Okay? But it is absolutely heavenly to think about. And, there are other ones on here as well. In your sleep chili, it says we only exaggerate when we say this great tasting ground beef chili is so easy, you can prepare it in your sleep. And the other nice thing about in your sleep chili is you really can make it in your sleep. There are many things that I'll put together, the night before, go to bed or, make a mess, clean it up, put it all in the crock pot, take my shower or whatever, go to bed. In the morning, wake up, smells heavily downstairs, turn it off, let it cool, put it in the refrigerator, and it's ready when we come home. And that's another way of doing it too. Or, that's a good thing on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and then you have something for all day, Sunday or Saturday, depending on when you put it in. And you can pick at it all day and you don't have to cook, or you don't have to cook at least a lunch, or you can put it in the morning when you wake up on a Saturday or a Sunday, and it's ready for dinner time, and you have something light for lunch, something to do. Other ones that are absolutely delicious, pork sliders. There's a pulled pork recipe for also for cooking in a slow cooker. They have one on here for bean and rice stuffed peppers. I'm not a big believer of beans and rice in stuffed peppers. I'm a big believer in stuffed peppers, though. I love stuffed peppers with raw ground beef and instant rice. And that way it doesn't have to cook very long. You just stick the ground meat in a bowl and you mix it up with a few ingredients. I either use ketchup or tomato soup, and it depends on what your tastes are, and maybe a little bit of Worcestershire or some salt and pepper. Mix the rice, the dried mixture with the raw ground beef. You cut off the tops of the stuffed peppers, stuff them, put them in the crock pot, and I put a cup of tomato soup, 1 can for every 2 or 3 peppers, and a cup of water because it's condensed. Stick it in there, let it cook for several hours, and it's delicious. And once again, although this sounds kind of crazy, what's a great side for that, again, is mashed potatoes. The tomato soup makes a great gravy, mixed in with the ground beef as it cooks. And that is a Hungarian/hunky meal, being of Hungarian and Yugoslavian and Eastern European descent. Stuffed cabbage and stuffed peppers that's mother's milk to me. That's home cooking. That's soul food. And so I can just tell you that in my wife's German, she doesn't even come from that part of the world necessarily, but she loves that stuff too. Creamy chicken noodle soup is another one that they have here. Corned beef and cabbage. We only do this once a year, but we do it. We buy a raw brisket and we cook it in our slow cooker. We have brown soda bread on the side, and we do it for every St. Patrick's Day. And then about an hour before we serve, we just take a raw head of cabbage, quarter it, take out the cores, lay them on top of the piping hot crock pot and cover it with, put the lid back on. And even at the top, it cooks just enough so there's just a little bit of crisp to it, but it's cooked and wilted perfectly to make just the perfect St. Patrick's Day meal. Hoisin chicken, pesto meatball stew, ham and potato au gratin, French dip sandwiches, cranberry chipotle country spare ribs. Ooh, that one looks really good. Cha-cha corn chowder, in a hurry chicken curry. I like the name. Ancho beef stew, garlic artichoke pasta, chicken cassoulet soup, turkey shepherd's pie, and I prefer actually hamburger shepherd's pie. Just substitute raw ground beef for turkey, and I love that as well. Nacho cheese chicken chowder, easy for you to say. Sloppy chicken joes, beef and bean ragu, hominy pork stew, and last but not least, and that's the last one. That was the last of the slides on there. And there's a little slideshow that gives you about 23 different 5-ingredient recipes, and they're all right here in Better Homes and Gardens. You can go to Better Homes and Gardens yourself and get it. Or if you like having someone compile all these lists and things for you, go to my Twitter feed. It's also on the right-hand side of my page. Just click on it, and my Twitter feed will pop open. You'll see a lot of different tweets, and that is an absolutely wonderful thing for you to check out and to do. And over the holidays, as you're going to be so busy with different things going on, you got to bring out the slow cooker, guys. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money. These meals are really, really, really inexpensive, and they're absolutely wonderful. So if you have not been slow cooking, or you are new to slow cooking, or you're younger and you don't really know this, or your parents didn't do it in your home, I can only tell you from my own experience. Having a slow cooker is just a godsend, and it is absolutely wonderful. So now that your mouth is watering, hopefully you can go to my website, log in, check it out, and get some good home-cooked meals. So even though today's episode was a little bit of a downer, I left you with some happy and hearty and savory things to think about here as we head into the holiday season. Get out that crock pot, make some good recipes, save your family some money, and you a lot of headache and time. Put that crock pot on in the morning and you have something wonderful for dinner. or put it on the night before and you have something delicious for a lunch or an early dinner for those of you that want to enjoy something on a Saturday or a Sunday. Well, that's my show for today. I didn't get done as much as I wanted to. I have a lot more to do. I will try and do a supplemental episode next week and maybe try and squeak in another one for you. Anyway, that's my show. I'm Dan B. Thanks for listening to the show. Goodbye and God bless.
Have you ever wanted to generate your own supply of electrical power, even save money on your electric bill? If so, this is going to be the most important message you will ever hear. Solar power generators are now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. Unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running quietly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, and even keep your food from spoiling. Whether it's hurricanes, ice storms, brownouts, or blackouts, you'll never suffer through painful power outages again. And here's the best news. A remarkable fall truckload sale going on right now that gets you $1,700 in bonuses when you buy a solar generator. To find out why solar generators are the best generators and get $1,700 for doing so, go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com. Generate your own supply of electricity. Go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Oven contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiasts on your shopping list. A Sun Oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from Southeast Oklahoma, USA, to parts unknown.